We're going to be talking about curative title, fractured equity, partial interest today. A lot of stuff is changing in real estate. My name is Charles. Been in the industry for a long time. Have done a lot of different type of real estate. I've run one of the best real estate operations in Texas until we parted ways, my partner and I, in 2020. What I'm here to talk about, what I call fractured equity. Some people call it curative title or partial interest. Actually, I think it means three different things, but this is something I've been doing since 2006. I never did it as a business. I always saw it as a great way to make money and do bigger deals, but it's taking the nation by storm. Luckily for me, I partnered up with some AI engineers about 2 years ago to create a net called Ari, which is really awesome. I'm going to show it to you guys in a little while. But what I've decided to do is build what we call the Fractured Equity Codex. And this is a system that's built so that folks can learn this process very quickly. I'll tell you, if someone was to dig into it in a week's time, you'd understand how to do this fractured equity or partial interest, curative title type of work. It's a really good way to make really good money. Now, I've been doing it for many years. I have many use cases and many of the top operators that are in curative title. I've talked to them over the years. We've shot ideas to each other, and I've helped a lot of folks get these deals done. But I've stepped in with REI Labs to build the Codex. I'm going to talk to you guys about that. I'm going to show it to you. And it's a way for someone who's either doing fix and flipping, wholesaling, innovations, subject any type of those strategies. It's a way for you to not step away, but look in a different direction. And what it really comes down to, guys, is it's not a big shift in your effort in doing deals. It's the type of deals that you're doing. So, for example, I ran a large wholesaling operation for a long time, and we went from VAs to cold calling systems to PPC to PPL and all that stuff. And a lot of it's dependent on you hiring other people to do this work for you. So if you hire VAs, somebody's going to do that work for you. If you do PPC, somebody's going to get those leads for you unless you're doing it yourself. But the thing that was always very fascinating for me is the partial interest, fixing titles. And the reason for that is because if you were to focus on a very specific list, and I'm going to tell you what that list here is in a minute. If you were to focus on that list and understand why and what the mechanics are behind it, you're going to find deals. But what you're going to find properties that are bruised. You're going to find properties with issues. And most people, the majority of people just walk away from that. But the people today that you're seeing online, that they're saying they're making $50,000, $100,000 on deals, it's a real thing. It's true. And I'm going to show you some really life examples right now that you can actually go look up the address and you can see what we're actually doing here with this type of strategy. So what is it? When we're looking for partial interest deals, or as I call it, fractured equity, what we're looking for primarily, we're looking for problems. We're looking for people with problems. We're looking for property with problems. People with problems is divorce, bankruptcy, judgments, liens. Those are people with problems. Of course, if you know a little bit more about what's going on with them, maybe they're ill, maybe they're going to prison. There's all kind of ways to find those type of people. Now, although I can tell you how to find a lot of that stuff, going after the property is much easier. Let me tell you why. Because what you want to concentrate on is tax delinquent. I'm going to give you the list. Tax delinquent, okay? That list in itself will bear fruit. But if you were to stack that list, the estate of classification, okay? The tax delinquents you get from the tax assessor, or in some counties, the tax collector. Okay, that's where you get it from. I'm going to show you how we're getting it for free in some of the states already. And you stack that list of states of classification. That means you go through the county appraisal district and you look up all your states of. All of them will pop up. And that list on its own is a good list. Okay, but when you combine those two lists, now you have a really good stacking. But let's not stop there, okay? In Texas, you can find the notices of a lawsuit. It's called a list pendants. Now, that list on its own is still a good list. But when you combine the tax delinquent, okay, the estates of list and the list pendants, which you get with the county recorder, now you have what you call a super list or a super stack, okay? And why is that list so important? The reason that list is so important is because you have to ask yourself, why didn't somebody pay taxes? If somebody died, now that was in the estate, why didn't they fix the estate? And why do they have a lawsuit? And they haven't addressed it. And there's only three reasons. Now, you understanding this now, it's going to really motivate you to be like, I can really get some really good deals. Now think about this. Do you really want to do 50 wholesales a year? Or do you want to do 1 or 2 or 3 deals every 2 months? with the profits being way, way larger. You have to ask yourself, if you're doing a $150,000 deal, how much can you actually make on a wholesale? Maybe 20. But on these fractured equity deals, you could pop 50, 60, 70,000. It's a big difference. Why does this happen? It's because most people don't know about the property. They don't care. Okay. But they can't do anything about it. Those are the only 3 reasons. They can't do anything about it. So now you step in, and most people are happy that you're here to help. They didn't know anything about it. So most people are like, okay, what do I got to do? I'm going to give you some angles here in a minute to show you what we do with those folks. And what do you do with people who don't care? I'm going to talk about that in a minute, how we get people to play ball. Now, in some cases, you're not going to get anyone to play ball, and you're going to have to do this partial interest type thing. So what are we talking about here? If you're finding these type of deals and there's potential profit in these deals, right? You have to identify, you have to know how to underwrite these deals, but you only have somebody who's willing to sell you their 50%, but the other person is not willing to sell you their 50%. That's where the partial interest, i.e. fractured equity, comes into play. And that's where, in most cases, you're going to have to do curative title. And the reason for that is because in a scenario like that where there's partial interest, maybe there's no issues with title. But in some cases, people are dead, and people maybe did quick claim deeds or they signed something over 1950. That's where the curative stuff comes into play. You got to do affidavit of heirship. So it's a lot going on. But once you figure out how easy it is to cure title, and you see how easy it is to use different methods to get people to deal with you, to do a deal with you, then you will really fall in love with these type of deals. Anytime you're looking at these deals that have these type of problems, in this situation, we found it because somebody passed away years ago, but there was no taxes though. But we found this by also going after just the estate. And what we found is the sister that we were talking to, she had been paying the taxes, so I had no leverage. What I'm trying to say is, usually when we take over partial interest, we want to pay off the taxes or a portion of the taxes, so I can contact the other heir and be like, hey, you owe % of these taxes, and I need you to pay me. And if not, we're going to sue for the reimbursement of these taxes, or we're going to do partition. What I did is unique in the situation, guys, and most people don't talk about this, even with people that are teaching this, is what I did is I also requested the rights at the time of purchase, the rights to collect on the taxes that my client that we're purchasing from had paid. So now I created leverage. There was no taxes for me to pay, but I purchased the rights to collect on those taxes. So now I created some leverage. And so on this particular deal, I sent this to this lady and I gave her 4 options. You can make us an offer, accept our offer, or we can do a partition, which I'm okay with, or I can sue for reimbursement of these taxes. Now, there's a 5th option I'm going to give you guys right now. This is really hardcore stuff, guys. And I wouldn't do it on this deal. I do it on a bigger deal. I could then tell the other person, look, how about I make you a loan for the amount that you owe me. And if they wouldn't pay on that loan, then I could foreclose. Instead of trying to do a partition sale or a reimbursement, I could just create a loan. So now they're paying me what they owe me with interest. Maybe I'm holding the property. So there's a lot of ways to skin this cat. What I'm trying to impress on you is that this small deal, and there's thousands of these deals, guys, this small deal is going to garner about $50,000. And all that I'm into total right now is about $1,500. But who here is doing deals like that? Think about it. Who here is doing deals where you can find these deals very easily and not depend on some VA in some other part of the world? Are these PPC leads that I'm buying or PPL leads that I'm buying, have they already been sold over and over again? Is my SEO working? How long does SEO have to really be in place for it to work? And then it breaks. This stuff that I'm talking about, you can do every day. And all you got to do, guys, is this. Imagine what I'm talking about here. You find one deal. Guys, we're talking about finding several, but let's say you found one deal a month. Instead of concentrating on doing a bunch of wholesaling deals, and in some cases, you might wholesale something like this, right? I'm not saying the strategy is not good, but I'm saying the focus should be different. If you found one deal a month, let's just say you concentrate, I'm going to do one deal a month, right? And that means 12 deals a year. That's my focus. Okay. I just mean I'm going to do one deal a month, and it'll pay you $30, $40, $50, $100,000. But if you were to focus on $300,000 properties, 500 properties, $1 million properties, if you were to get one deal a month closed or every 2 months, and you made $50,000 to $100,000, wouldn't that change your life? And you're doing it on your own terms. You don't have to pay a bunch of people to do stuff for you that you got to depend on them to get deals. This is what we're talking about. I'm going to show you guys in a minute how we're doing it. But before we do that, I want to show you another deal real quick. We stopped the foreclosure. The Friday before that, I sent this to the lender. It was a mercy letter, and it basically explained to the lender that the lady went through a divorce. We wrote this letter for her. So we sent this to the lender. We sent them a letter from Stellar Title, let them know the contract was there. We sent them a copy of the HUD that she's not making any money because she can't make any money on the deal. And then we sent the contract. Guys, we're doing this deal for $7,000. Okay. And here's my approval funds. And then this is her loan. We already have a potential buyer for this deal, guys. And the reason I show you this is because what I focus on is just find the deals that nobody else is doing. If you can find the deals that nobody else is doing, then you really carve out some really good deals. And how are we getting here? I got really lucky working with these AI engineers that wanted to build a system that would help people get real estate data really fast, real estate knowledge really fast. And they built this system. It's called ARI. It's a AI system that gets you data, gets you knowledge real quick. But also in this system, there's a Codex. And the Codex, it's everything you can think of when it comes to fractured equity, i.e. partial interest, in a way that you can learn it very fast. And the beautiful thing about it is the tools they built into it would get somebody to go from 0 to 70 really quick. I'm going to show you guys what we're working on. I think you're going to find it very fascinating. Also, how it pulls live data. At REI Labs, they built RE to be able to pull live tax delinquents, okay? In Texas, Florida's up, Illinois and New York are coming online. There's a few other states that are coming online. What does that mean for you? That means that you don't have to wait to go down to the county and get the list. Sometimes you got to wait a week or two. I know that's true here in Bexar County, and you got to pay for it. And then you got to clean it up, and then you got to start targeting it. And the problem with that is by the time you get it, you're 3 weeks into it. Now you can get it live. And there's no system that can do that right now. But at REI Labs, these are the breakthroughs that we're going through. So I'm going to show it to you real quick. This is RE, guys. It looks a lot like ChatGPT and Claude and all the other systems, but it's its own system for real estate. And it pulls data. And then this is the Codex, guys. We're going to go through it here in a minute. This is the knowledge-based systems right here, the map of how someone will get started. We're going to show you the lexicon. We're going to show you the navigator. And there's something I'm really proud of, guys. The Underwriter 360. This is a system that is so powerful. Now, it's being tested right now, but I want you to stay to watch this thing because this, in combination with RE, is a system that's built that will allow you to very fast. Imagine being able to talk to the system and the system just getting what it needs. You can scan documents into it, but it's only going to get the information that it needs. You can copy and paste information into it, but it's only going to get the information it needs to put into the system. The objective of the system is not just a calculator. It is a system that understands what you're trying to do, mapping out a family tree, how much interest everybody got. It takes into consideration risk tolerance, what are the costs, what are the legal fees, and then it's going to give you a score. It's going to let you know, hey, this is a go, this is a no, proceed at your own caution. And if you get to the next step, it'll even create an offer. And the offer, right now that it creates the PDF offer, but what we're working on is for it to create an offer that you can send somebody very professional. So we're going to show it to you right now. And what we worked on for the last year is how do we build a system where somebody can learn at 2 a.m, at 3 a.m? How does somebody get the answers quickly instead of waiting for a mentor or coach or waiting for a Zoom call? How do we put the power in people's hands? I could have chose any of the strategies because I've done pretty much everything in the last 22 years. I've done pretty much everything successfully, from flipping to sub-twos to creative, but I picked this one. And the reason I picked this one is it's the new thing happening right now in real estate. But more than that is because I've had a lot of experience in it. And I think what people don't really get about finding these deals is that it's pretty much what we've all been doing when we're trying to clear title for wholesale. It's the same thing. It's just a different focus. You were actively trying to find problems as opposed to trying to find deals. Over here, we're trying to find problems, and the bigger the problems, the profitability on those deals is greater. Most people want to run away from the issues. I'm saying that if there's a judgment in place, research that judgment to see if that judgment can then become equity. So while everybody's like, oh man, this property has a $30,000 judgment. Okay, what if we can remove that judgment? What if on Medicaid state recovery deal where everybody's walking away from it because maybe somebody ran up a bill with Medicaid for $158,000 and you're like, that deal can't get done. It's only worth $100,000. It needs $40,000 in rehab, and it has $25,000 in taxes. Can't get done. Everybody runs away from it. But you having the knowledge to understand that there's a waiver process, right? So you could do the waiver process, or better yet, understanding that every state has its own statute of limitations. And Texas is 4 years. Now, if you catch it in year one, you got to decide whether you're going to hold the property for another 3 years. And if it's a good property, you can get possession of it, right? Then you can rent it out. Have the tenant that's paying you, so you can pay the taxes, and then you wait out the statute of limitations. So there's a lot of stuff when it comes to curative title And a lot of folks, a lot of times think it's just too much. And the reason they think it's too much is because they can't get the answers quickly. And so they're like, man, who do I got to go pay to get this answer? Or who do I got to go ask? I got to talk to an attorney. The attorney wants to charge me $250 just to get me an answer. Or maybe you have an attorney you're cool with, but they're just a little tired of answering all your questions. That's what REI Labs built. They built a system that someone could get a vast majority of that knowledge very quickly. Does anybody have any other questions? I'd love to take a few questions before we really dive into it, because once we dive into it, I'm going to be showing you a lot of stuff.
How to get the tax list so quickly? It's almost impossible to get it from Barrow County.
Now, I wish I could tell you how we do it, okay? What I will tell you is that RE doesn't have any stored data in it. It's all alive and it's all AI. And so the problem that people have always had with getting the tax delinquent is, where is it located? Here, let me show you real quick. And so what I asked it was, get me a list of tax delinquent in Barrow County. And so it's already getting it live, guys. See? And the beautiful thing about the list that we get, okay, it'll also give you an expanded list. And the beautiful thing about this is that we have the top 46 counties in Texas, and now we have Florida, and I believe Illinois is online, New York's coming online. I think they're working on Georgia. So eventually the objective is to have the entire nation. REI Labs is so sold on this that they are spending resources to get the data so that you guys can pursue fractured equity. Most people are telling you, hey, go over there and get the data and then come back and do the work. REI Labs is focused on getting that for you, and that way you can get to work immediately. So as soon as you get the Codex, even if you have a good understanding of partial interest, you can start requesting data. I want to show you a few other tools that's really going to fascinate you, so you can be like, man, do I really got to spend 3, 4, 5, 6 months to listening to somebody teach me about all the war stories? Or do I got to be in a community for a year listening to folks? Or can I get busy? Can I get started? And that's the objective. Like, at some point, everybody, you have to ask yourself, like, how much training do I need? Or can I just get started? And that's what REI Labs built. And so to answer your question, to get the tax delinquent list, okay, anybody can get it. You don't have to do that anymore. Not in Texas. And that's the beautiful thing about it. And you can get busy tomorrow if you need to. But let's get into the Codex, guys. So what is this thing? This thing that we built is a whole entire system, guys, that if you were to dig into this a few hours a night, you will have a command fractured equity is. As you can see, it's not written like a book. It's just very quick, to the point, bullet points on anything that has to do with this type of strategy. And it covers every single part of fractured equity, how properties become fractured, the economics of fractured equity, who this is for. Now, some of the more exciting chapters are a little bit lower here. I'll show you crumbing. This is my favorite. This is breadcrumbing, finding missing or deceased people. Guys, what is breadcrumbing? Breadcrumbing is the true way of skip tracing somebody. Most people today think skip tracing is when you're looking for some people's phone number. But breadcrumbing is following every single little bread you can find to target the person that you want to find. What I tell people is that if you wanted to know how partial interest works, it's all here. Now, imagine this. When you're on a Zoom like you are right now, you're only going to take away what I tell you. You're only going to get an hour of me, and you're only going to get so much of what I tell you. But imagine having it all in your hands. Now, what's really great about this thing is there's a capstone, and then we put some bonuses in here, identifying and finding how to take over LLCs, how to find defunct Cs, trusts, how to cure Medicaid, MERP deals. All of this is in here. But the beautiful thing about this is it's all inside of RE, guys. The entire system is inside of RE. So we'll let that cook here in a minute. The beautiful thing about Codex is anything you can think of that has to do with this type of strategy is in here. And if you were just to give yourself a week or two to go through the whole thing, by the end of it, you're going to have a good understanding. But then you're going to ask yourself, I can't remember everything. That's what RE is for. RE is built to answer any question. It'll answer any question on any real estate strategy, but it's built to work directly with the fractured equity codex. Now, the other beautiful thing about this is the appendix. The appendix is really cool. It has 50 states, quick references, state-by-state probate alternatives, the full state-by-state and test state references, states to surveys, and current adoption status. All that information is at your fingertips. What I really love about this is it has over 100 case studies. It's just give me the quick information that I can go through, and that's what it's for. The beautiful thing thing about it is that you can go to Ari and ask it about any of this. It also has a roadmap. If you're a solo person and you wanted to get started, there's a roadmap here of how do you get started in this business immediately and start going through it. Guys, you can go through the roadmap in a couple hours and you don't have to come back to it ever again. Most folks, sometimes they just need a roadmap. In a couple hours, if you read fast an hour, you can go through the whole thing and now you can move forward. And here's Ari. So Ari's already answering the question because I asked it. I said, can you tell me more about partial interest real estate? Now, some of you guys get this question all the time. Charles, why don't I just use ChatGPT or Claude or any of the other? And that is true. You could use those systems, but just keep in mind, guys, that those billion-dollar companies built those guys for general purpose. Ari is built for specific purpose. So it's built on a knowledge base that has to do with specific case studies for real estate. It's built on over 10 million entries. So it's very specific to real estate. The other beautiful thing about Ari is it gets comps, it can do our ARVs, it can create contracts, can get data. And none of the guys right now are going to go get you tax delinquent data. They're just not going to do it. They're not going to stack you. They just can't. They're going to tell you how to do it. They're not going to do it. And that's what we've done here is very special at REI Labs. This is how people are going to really get going. Not only on this codex, but the other ones that are coming, people will be able to do these deals a lot faster without having to pay $10, $20, $30, $40,000 in mentorships. And so now you have all the information at your fingertips. There's tutorials coming, guys, but if you join the system, you get access to the new school. We just launched it 10 days ago. It already has people in here. And so this is where I go and other professionals come in, or we're going to be doing lives with you, answering your questions, because sometimes people need the human touch. But one of the other things that's really important, guys, that I think is really fascinating is Navigator. Now, the Navigator has several things. You can bookmark if you want, right? So you can bookmark, you can browse the Codex. But the beautiful thing about this Navigator is we took the entire system, and there's thousands of questions in here, guys. If you had a question, it would be hard pressed for you to find it inside the Navigator. So you just ask pretty much any question and it'll bring it up. Let's say a state. So it'll bring up a question. You can bookmark these, but the beautiful thing is it'll take you right to the chapter. Maybe you want to read a little bit more about it. And this is really cool because it gets you learning really fast. Now, the other beautiful thing about it is you can just copy right here. If you wanted to copy right here, you just go to Ari and you paste it, let it cook, come back to it. And that is what the Navigator is. Now, there's something else that's really cool. It's called the lexicon. So the lexicon, guys, think about this for a second. As human beings, it's impossible for us to know every single term. What the lexicon does, guys, it brings pretty much every single real estate term you can think of, and it gives you a quick term. Let's just say for some reason you were dealing with an anchor tenant. Yeah, what the fuck is an anchor tenant? Boom, it's right here. What this lexicon was built for was for a national overview of almost every single real estate term you could think of. And it's all in here. It's all coded by alphabetical order. And this is a growing thing, guys. It's an evergreen thing. It also holds every single type of term when it comes to the different type of recorded documents across the nation. So most folks don't know all the documents, but here, let's just say you're dealing with any particular state and you're like, what the hell is a certificate of merger? You could Google it, but what REI Labs has done, it brings you a quick definition, and you can copy it, put it into Ari, and then Ari will give you the answer. Explain fractured equity, real estate acquisition, and an operator strategy, including what it is and the main legal pathways. This is the codex that was built. This is a massive index, guys. And what this index does, this index has its own AI in it. You could ask it anything. If you had a question, you can come in here and ask it, explain partial interest. Let's talk about that. And so the AI is going to respond very quickly to you. And the beautiful thing about it is that it will, in many cases, find the use case for it and take you there. Right now, we built these atlases. What these atlases do is, in some of the states, for example, our objective is to get people the information really quick. Can we get to the majority of the probate offices and actually pull the data? We've given everybody access. Hey, report all the problems. That's what we put on there. And so we're giving people free access to that because our ultimate goal, Craig, would be now that we have all the URLs that we need, let's find the ones where we can actually pull the data. And once we're able to pull the data with Ari, that's going to go into the system that people are subscribing to. So the thing I'll share with you about Ari and REI Labs is it's not a static system. It's a very dynamic system. One step forward, build, and give people more and more. That's what REI Labs is about. The index. There's no system right now that has every single thing that has to do with the strategy. There's no way you cannot learn because all the information is there. It's in the Codex. It's in a Navigator. It's in a lexicon. There's an index. And then there's a stacker. This stacker right here, what this stacker does is what it's going to allow you to do is bring in, for example, a code violations list and stack. Earlier, I gave you what I said was the stack list, right? The super stack. I'm going to tell you what the max super stack list is, okay? The max super stack list is this. It's tax delinquent, list pendants, a state of. But if you were to take your last 12 months of code violation and stack that list, okay? Now, that list in itself is a good list. But if you were to take that list and stack it with your super stack, you're going to create a max super stack. And that's going to have tax delinquent, estates of, it's going to have list pendants, and it's going to have code violations. Guys, that's the list. If you know what you're attacking, you're going to get deals. You know what the beautiful thing about this is? The beautiful thing about this is that all the deals are follow-ups. All of them. Even if they say no, they're all follow-up. And guys, last thing I'll show you before I tell you what we're trying to accomplish here at REI Labs is the Underwriter 360. Now, this system should be up by the end of the month. It is a system that I was telling you about where you can smart paste, where you can scan, talk into it, and it'll bring all the information in here. You can also, if you need to stack more data in here, you can put more in here. It'll create the family tree. This right here is a family tree. Now, we don't need to know everybody's information. We just need to know parties. And then you go find the people, right? And you start adding the people's information. It starts bringing down the interest. Imagine being able to do that automated. This is the type of stuff that we're building at REI Labs. What it does, it gives you a review, whether to move forward, not move forward, or reject. The end result of this system is going to be to give you a verdict, whether to move forward, but to also create the offer. Right now, there's nothing in there, but you could then create the offer to send out to the heirs that you're trying to target. This is the things that we're building at REI Labs. The reason that we're contacting folks is because we understand there's a big push right now for this type of strategy. We believe we have probably one of the best systems out there. And if you guys are interested in joining the fractured equity Codex system, there's a small investment on your side, but I think that we're going to put a lot of power into your hands. So you get 6 months of RE that comes with the Codex, okay? You have access to the Codex lifetime, okay? But you get 6 months to it. But as long as you keep your subscription to it, anything that gets built into the Codex, it's also in RE, you get access to that. So there's different subscriptions. Now, there's a $20 subscription. It's also an app. You can download the app. And that's the lowest tier one. That's just knowledge. Then you got RE Pro. RE Pro gets you some capabilities like running comps, RVs, and creating contracts and stuff. Then you have RE Elite. RE Elite's where all the data lives. You're getting the ability to look up anything that has to do with real estate. You're getting the ability to run comps, RVs. So you're getting a lot of power with this AI that's just built for real estate. Like, for example, in Texas, it's a little bit harder because Texas is a non-disclosure state. But in the states where there's full disclosure, of course, we can use full comp. And so that's not really hard to do. And the non-judicial states, I can't disclose how we get the data to be able to do this. What I will tell you is it's done two ways. One of the ways that we get to that number, I'll share this openly with you guys. All of you guys can do this, even whether you have RE or not. What the system looks at, it's looking at a lot of things, but what it looks at, it looks like what properties are listed. So, for example, if you have a property in an area where there's 3 similar listings, let's just say 202, 205, 210, and the system looks at that, but it's not just looking at that. It's looking at the agent's license number and who they're working for. So what we created is a scale of the different type of real estate companies, right? Some have compliances, some don't. Somebody who has an older number and shows up a lot, for example, on Zillow, they may have a trust score that's higher than somebody that just started that has a brand new license number who maybe he's never been on Zillow. What we've done is we created a grading system for the agents, right? So that we can figure out, okay, does this particular person, based on what the AI is seeing, is it probable that this particular person is listing this particular property at the right price? The way we think about it is like this. Agents are already doing the work to list the properties. Now, we all know that agents list the properties a little bit higher than what they're actually worth. We also take that into consideration, about a 5% discount from what they're listing. So what that allows us to do is get a very close number to what we believe would be the comp for that property. Here's the property I just ran comps on. So 95, 34 Wolf Point. And what it does, it gives you a summary, right? It gives you an evidence base. It defines the subject property. So it gives you a lot of great information so you can run comps really quick. Now think about this. If you're an investor and you're out in the field, you're like, man, I need a comp for this property. You could go on Zillow, of course, or you could just run it inside of RE. And we believe that the system we set up is more accurate. You have a lot of people using it and they find that it's very accurate. I will tell you it is more accurate in the larger cities. Cities are about above 100,000. It's pretty on point. When you start getting to the smaller cities, there's not enough information for it to really get you a good number. It's more accurate in the bigger cities where there's more activity. Just FYI on that. So guys, I'm not really big about doing a hard sales. I'm not a professional pitcher. I just do deals, and I got good opportunity to work with some great guys. I've been doing deals for many years. I'm not a professional at, hey, buy this shit right now. If you see value in what I've decided to throw my hat into, then I invite you to join. I promise you, I think you're going to learn very fast, and you're one step away from doing partial interest deals. What you're lacking is the knowledge. What you're lacking is the systems. I'm really proud of this thing. So I invite you to join. We'll be getting to know each other when we do the school meetings, because I'll be in there myself and be bringing in other professionals and attorneys to talk to you guys about fracture equity type deals. So if you're interested, you can join now. If you're worried about the cost, guys, I guarantee you there's people selling this product for a lot more, and rightfully so. It's people's time. Everybody can put a price on their time. I believe we got a product that we can put in your hands and you can get busy immediately. And we're putting support behind that too, and Ari. So Ari is your 24/7 mentor. There's no mentor that knows more than it. So you have it in your palm of your hand and on your phone, because you can download the app. You want to find the problem first. And what is the biggest problem in most cases? And that's the taxes. And so that's the really great thing that Labs locked down, was the ability to get tax delinquency immediately. And so that's the first thing we look at. And then of course we look at the estate, combine those, and then we look at if there's a lawsuit, right? Because if there's a lawsuit, that means what's happening here. They're behind on taxes. There's an estate, and now there's a lawsuit on the property. They got three problems. And if we combine that with code violations, now you have a property that has a lot of issues. And the objective is to find the people. And so this is what we're doing with the Codex, and Ari is giving people the ability to answer a lot of those questions that you had when the person either you're dealing with or you're by yourself, or I get the answer. You can ask Ari, and if not, you're in the community with us. And of course, our objective is to answer those questions. In this particular case, I'll give you an example. We had a deal a couple years ago where we couldn't find somebody. But when I do the lives, I'm always teaching about real life stuff. I like to interview people, and I found out that this guy was a criminal. And so the first thing I did was run a background check on him, and I saw that he had been locked up a few times. And in the background check, I saw he was on probation. He had just got probation in Austin. So I called the probation offices in Austin, and I found his probation officer. And I called his probation officer, and I said, hey, Mr. Garcia, I'm calling about this guy. You're his probation officer, and he's owed some money. And the reason I'm calling you is because most of these guys owe money to the state, and we can't get a hold of him. We think he's avoiding getting paid because he doesn't want to pay the state. It never fails. They're like, he'll call you, and they always do. So there's ways to find people. Okay, there's ways to find people internationally. There's ways to find people who are off grid, and this is the type of stuff that we talk about live in the school. That's what I'm going to use the school for. Codex itself is information, is intake information for you, so you can understand how it all works. And then you have tools that we've developed. These type of deals done faster. And of course, you got Ari. So Ari can answer any question. If for some reason you need, it doesn't, I'm there. So we're going to be doing two meetings. One for the general school, right? People that are just curious, they want to learn, they're still invited. But Codex people, they get their own session. And so that when we're in that session, we'll be talking about deals. We'll be talking about scenarios. And this is where you get to ask questions. It's a very exciting time to be in real estate right now. Let me tell you why, okay? Because for a long time, since I remember since I was a kid, there was infomercials, there was coaches about wholesaling, how to take over properties for $10, subject twos, do creative financing. For a long time, that was the fad, fix and flip, learn how to build. And then the new fad came in about 4 years ago, novations, which of course novations are pretty easy to do now. It's a very exciting time to be in real estate, because for the first time, and this is something also that I had to come to terms with, a lot of folks that were doing partial interest discovered that you could actually target it. And let me explain. So in the past, if I was doing wholesaling, creative financing, sub twos or whatever, we were running into these deals just by osmosis, just because we were doing deals. You run into them, you fix them, and you learn, right? But no one was really targeting, like, I'm going to target for this. Those deals came up because for one reason or another, there was a messy title, and title companies were saying this deal can't get done, and then it would land on my desk or other people like me, and we'd get the deals done. But in the last couple of years, what we have discovered is, how come we're not targeting these deals? Like, they're everywhere. And the reason they're everywhere is because people die every day. And these deals are deals that you don't have to depend on other people. You don't have to hire virtual assistants to call a list for you. You don't have to hire cold callers in your office. You don't have to pay for PPC PPP or PPL or SMS programs or email programs or send letters out. That shit's expensive. So the realization came is, you know what? We could actually target these people by going after the right lists. And so when you get the list, in some cases, you're going to find everybody, and that's great. But in some cases, you're going to find if somebody's dead and they left heirs. And the easiest thing to do, the very first thing you should do is look at the obituary. The obituary would tell you who survived that person. And then those are the people we target. Now, some people ask me, Charles, how do we get that information? The easiest way to do is to skip trace the address. If you skip trace the address, it'll tell you 9 times out of 10 who lived in that property or who was associated with that deal. And that's good. If that's how you learn, I think that's good. We took it a step beyond that. We're going to have community and meetings. We're going to give you Ari, which is an AI built for this, that has anything you can think of that has to do with this type of system and tools. And so I think that the system that we're providing for folks, those who take advantage of it, are going to do well, because it's not that hard to do these deals, guys. You find them, we underwrite them, and then we find the people, make the offers, cure the issues. We're either buying 100% or buying partials. And then what do we do when we buy partials? We're either going to take legal action, either partitions, right, or reimbursement, or we'll do loans. Hopefully they pay. They don't pay, we foreclose. There's a lot of ways to exit these deals. Trust me, one of these deals can change your whole year. You do one deal and you make would it change your life. This is real stuff happening, guys. People are doing these type of deals. They're everywhere. You can do it in any state. But I'm going to tell you something, guys, a little secret before we go. The majority of the operators are in Texas. It is wide open. Now, deals are being done in Texas every month, but I'm talking about people are just starting to understand what's going on in Texas and Florida, guys. We're getting the Florida date. People have no idea what's going on, and there's just very few. This stuff is wide open because people die every day, and you're just going to become, I'm not going to say glorified, but you're going to become a very expert guy in real estate. And your job is to find deals. It's going to change how you do business. I'd rather do one deal a year or 5 deals a deal than to do 30, 40 deals a deal. I really believe we got a good product, guys. So I hope I'll see you, Cindy. Join us. Do they have Ari?
I don't think so.
No, they don't, because only REI Labs has Ari. Part of not understanding is you got to get in the ring. And the scary part about getting in the ring is that if your coach is only there part of the time to train you, you have to have that. Well, we've done at Labs, we built Ari to be that. So not only do you have the community where you can come into and ask questions and we discuss all this stuff, but you have a full-blown 24/7 AI mentor that's built for this. You can ask it a question at any given time. And the beautiful thing about it, Ari will work with anybody's program. The beautiful thing about partial interest is that anybody can do really good. And you just need one deal. You get one deal and you make 100 G's, I think you're doing good. And then now you get to breathe. You're like, man, I just made 30 G's, 50 G's, 100 G's. And it's very realistic. And you're like, okay, I get it. And the beautiful thing about this type of real estate is all you got to do is find one more. You don't have to put 20, 30 contracts, wholesale deals in the pipeline to try to close 40%. You just got to find one good deal. And I'm already telling you how you find them. As long as you stay focused on what we're looking for, you're going to run into it. You're going to find it. And the one thing I love about this system is that every deal is a follow-up. Every single deal is a follow-up. There's never a dead lead. Because as long as it's behind on taxes, as long as it has a list pendants, if there's an estate, if there's an etol, okay, if there's an etol behind on taxes, you'll find these on the county appraisal district and even on the assessor. And you're like, man, they're behind on taxes. Let me give you a little food for thought here. If you see an etol classification on a deed, and they're behind on taxes, you have to ask yourself this question. A group of people or entities or a merger of either one, right? A trust, a human being, whatever. They came together at some point to purchase something. At some point, somebody came together to purchase something. And they were all happy when they did it. But now they're behind on taxes. And worst case now, maybe they're lawsuit. And you have to ask yourself, why? If these people came together to buy this one thing, why are they behind on taxes? And those are beautiful deals. And there's not a lot of them, but those are beautiful deals. And let me tell you why. People ask, how do you find these people? It's recorded. It's at the county. All you got to do is go on the county recorder, look up the etol, and everybody's name's there. If it's an LLC, it's going to tell you. Sometimes the phone number's there. Sometimes the address is there. If it's John Doe, Jane Doe, certain trust, it's a little harder to find, but I can definitely share that in the school, how we find the people that are behind the trust. But what I'm trying to impress on you is that if somebody came together, if a group of people came together to buy something together, together, and now they're behind on taxes. Okay, it's logically you're like, why? And that's because somebody has a problem, right? Not only the property has problems, most likely the people have problems. And that is a very fast way to find deals. And that's what we've done with the Codex. We have put the information into the Codex so that you don't have to wait. And then we built RE so you can just ask a question right now, not wait for a coach or a mentor for next week. You can ask a question right now and get the answer to it. And then we built the school, right? You have a general meeting and then you have a Codex meeting so you can get access to live people twice a week. I promise you, what we've built, I know that once word really gets out, what we built, I feel, is the system that people are going to start. We get people every week to join. And I know that more and more people, as they join, the knowledge that people are gaining is very fast. And I know that sooner or later, it'll just be everywhere. What I'm more happy about is that I know that our system works with anybody's system. And let me give you an example. Let's just say that somebody's selling a ship for this type of system for $10,000. And I think if somebody pays for that, and I think whoever charges that, if that's what they're worth and they feel they're worth, I think that's great. But guess what? They're only a human being. They can only answer so many questions per day. They can only answer so many questions at a time. Ari can answer thousands of questions at the same time. If you took 1,000 people and 1,000 people asked one coach a question, that person would be there all day, maybe a couple of days to answer everybody. But Ari can answer everybody at the same time, day and night, 24/7. And that's the power that we're putting in your hands. So if any of you guys buy courses or thinking about buying anyone's course and that's what you want to do, I think that's great. But what you have to ask yourself is, how much access do I have to the mentor? How much can I call them anytime I want to ask a question? Am I getting substance? Am I getting the data, or am I just listening? And if you're just listening, you're only going to remember so much. But if you're getting it, you have it in your hands, you have access to it, and then you can ask questions and get answers. I think that our system that we built is a system that anybody can learn very fast. And eventually, REI Labs will push out the Sub-2 Codex, the 5 main real estate strategies. But the reason they pushed out the Fractured Equity Codex is because this is a very crowded strategy right now. And what we found is that individuals who already have understanding of real estate, who have done a lot of deals, or individuals who are coming from a vertical in the real estate world, but actually a little bit older individuals, we're finding that are gravitating towards the system because what it does, it gets you answers right now. At the same time, it can get the data. Now, as RE matures, eventually our objective is to have the entire nation, but right now we're in the top 46 counties in Texas. We can pull tax delinquent, which there's no system that can do that right now. With RE, you can get tax delinquent in the top 46 counties. We're not going to do all the counties. You can Florida now. My understanding, Illinois and New York are coming online, and I believe that we're working on Georgia and Arizona. Our objective is, how do we get people data quickly, get them the information quickly, get them answers quickly so they have a question. And of course, the live community that we just launched, we got like 70 people. We just launched it like 10 days ago. And I'm going to tell you something that I believe that people are going to make a lot of money. 16, 12, 17 wholesaling, Wild West. For the wholesaling fees were 16, 70,000. On any day. This is where we're at. But the beautiful thing about
life-changing money on almost every deal.
These type of deals are never going to go away because people die every day. Jovan, you have a question, my friend?
Yeah, I'm in Chicago here. I wanted to ask you a question. I have a tax delinquent list. So how would Ari, you do the estate off, run that? Can you do that right now with the system?
So I can't go into how we get the data, Jovan. What I would
It's okay. Actually, I'm about to join. And the reason I'm about to join, look to me, you have the expertise in the real estate. Are you the main reason I'm joining? And actually, I was just filling out the information as we speak. And here I'm clicking on pay right now as we speak.
Thank you so much for joining. I'm going to tell you some of the stuff that we're doing that most companies don't do. I want everybody to understand, it's a whole team behind REI Labs. I just happen to be the face right now. RE doesn't have any stored data, but for some of you folks who have data that is enormous, I'm pretty sure that I can get REI Labs, because we have the AI systems to do this, to get that broken down for you very fast. So that way you're not dealing with a mammoth amount of unnecessary data. You're just dealing with data you need to deal with. Now, the second thing that you're asking about is the classification for the property. In other words, is it an estate? Is it an LLC? Is it a trust? So I haven't personally done Cook County, but when we get off this call, message the team, and I'm going to ask them, how is it that we can get a state of classification in Cook County so that you can then turn around and stack that. And if we have to stack it for you, then we'll just stack it for you. That way, I want to show you that we want to do stuff for the people that are joining our system, because we can put a lot of good stuff in your hands, but there's always going to be something just can't get done, but we can do it in-house. If we can do it in-house, then we can definitely push it out to you. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to give you my number. I give everybody my personal Codex number. So I want you to call me here in an hour. And since you joined, we're going to take direct action. I'm going to talk to our labs guys after I get off the Zoom, and we're going to help you get that list fixed and stacked so you can get to work right now. We want people to get to work. Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited too. So yeah, and the expertise and the way he talks, and he sounds so honest, and there's no question about it. That's why I'm joining. Yeah, the nuances is what I'm looking for, and the support. Yeah, and I'm excited. I really am. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited about what we're doing. I think we're going to change lives. And my end goal is I used to have a big group, 300 to 400 people, and me and my partner for 12 years, but my company split and I had to make a decision. And so my end goal with what we're doing is, can we help people change their lives? It's the first important thing. I believe in that so much, but also to create a community where people can come together, do deals together, buy into deals together, because some people may be good at researching, some people may be good at just having the money to invest, some may be at actually doing the work. So if we can create the system where not only someone's maybe choosing to do the deals on their own, but can lean on the community, that's even bigger, because once you create a good community with a good group of people, they can lean on each other. I've had so many friendships come. I get a chance now to build and lead my own community again, and that's what I'm doing along with this process. And I want to thank you for joining. It really means a lot, and I definitely got to go out of my way to make sure that we help you with that list.
Saying that this system can pull tax delinquents today. We don't have to go to the courthouse, because that's what happened for me, Bexar County. I could not get it. I could not get it. I had to get it from somebody who got it from somebody else, and they gave it to me, obviously unparsed, and it's 1 million records, and I'm like, what the fuck do I do with this shit now? And they're like, send it off to a VA or somebody who can, what they call scrape. I'm like, what the hell does scrape mean?
Okay, let me ask you a question. Can they get you a live tax delinquent? You can come in here, and the Codex is about teaching you what to do with this whole system. That's what the Codex is.
I don't know how you did it, because that right there is 80% of the battle, I think. And then you said you could essentially scrape it, which I guess means reducing duplicates.
Scraping is a whole different concept, but the list that you get, it's already the list. So the next step, the Codex teaches you what to do with this type of strategy, but then what you would do with that list, of course, even with meager tools, what you would do is, the first thing you would do is look up the properties. You start to look up, what is the CAD value, what is owed, if taxes are 30, is it worth 130? Because there's a certain underwriting system that I use to decide whether I want to go or not. The problem with this type of business, you can go down a rabbit hole 2-3 weeks and then be like, oh shit, it was not a deal. But I focus on, do the numbers make sense from the jump? Okay. And so that's what the Codex is teaching. Do the numbers make sense? And that's for every deal. And every decision after that should be a minute or two. Let me explain. This is what I teach. Now, if I'm teaching somebody one-to-one, that's what I'm teaching them. Because if you're spending 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes on deals to make a decision, how many of those can you actually do a day? So let's just say, God forbid, you're spending 30 minutes on a deal and you're working 8 hours a day. How many can you actually touch? Not very many. So what I teach is, look, there's a lot that is in these deals. You don't know what it is because it's all like a box of chocolate until you get into it. The very first thing you should do is figure out, what are the tax, what's the value, and what are the risks? Is the tax $25,000? Is the CAD value 5? I'm talking about, is the CAD 125? That's the first check mark. Okay, cool. 125. I'm $100,000 above that. The next thing is, okay, are there any liens that we can't get rid of? Like city liens, you can't get rid of those. There's 5,000. Okay, now we're at 30. Is the CAD 130? If it is, then we keep moving to the next step. Now we have a judgment. Is the judgment more than 10 years old? I know I can remove it. Is it a federal tax lien? Oh, it's a federal tax lien. Is it more than 10 years old? Now, is it a child support lien? Can I get the child support office to do a partial release? There's a way to do that. So what I try to teach people is, how do we get there fast? Because if you're spending an hour on one deal and it doesn't go nowhere, you just wasted an hour of your life. So in the office, I tell the guys, get the list, what's the tax, what's the CAD value. And if those two things are where I want them to be, what are the next step? What's the next step? Look up the liens, look up any judgments. Now we're at the obituary. Who are we finding? RE only pulls what you need to look at. So you could go down to the tax office right now. It's going to take you about days to get the list, $50 here in Bexar County, and then you get the list. You got to clean it. God forbid you get it in TRW, you got to send it to somebody to clean it. That's not what we do. RE pulls the list live, and it's only pulling what you need. You can start to work immediately on that data. So with the 360, we'll give people the ability to load, list, and carry a pipeline inside the system. Now, we don't want to push it as a CRM. That'll be data you can hold in there, and then you click on it, you can work on it, you can add stuff to it, you can come back to it, or you can export it to your Go High Level or whatever software you're using. So you got a 360 is coming, but for now, the people that are working and using RE and learning with the Codex, because the Codex is the learning reporting system. RE is an action system. Right now, of course, they're doing it on their own systems. I don't want to sell a CRM to people. The Underwriter 60 will have that capability for you to work in the system, but I don't want to sell that as an added product. It's just going to come with it. All of it's going to come with the system. If you know anybody who wants to get in this business, you want to get into the strategy, I would ask you to please shoot them our way. We've spent a lot of time, a lot of money building the system out for people to really get after it. I think we got a good product. So that's it, guys. That's our presentation for the Fractured Equity Codex. Those of you who are serious and want to move forward, I invite you. I'm sure you can see we've built a lot of stuff that most folks that teach don't have. There's definitely nobody has a proprietary AI for any system. I think what we built for the price that we're selling at and for the community that we're building, I think is unheard of. And if you're interested and you want to move forward, you want to do these type of deals, then I